You are listening to the Practicing the Art of Small Business podcast with Shannon Merlo and Julie Parker. Enjoy this conversation about business, leadership, and the self-awareness journey to great success.
Welcome, Julie, and welcome, listeners, to, I believe we're up to episode number 38 of Practicing the Art of Small Business. Julie, how are you?
Super well. Thanks so much, Shannon. I'm really super well.
Fantastic. So super to hear. And I actually have a serious interest in how you're doing, because I've decided today that I want to get to know Julie really, really well.
Really intimately, Shannon?
Really intimately, deeply, and emotionally.
Gosh, like it's being recorded on YouTube.
You should check it out. You never know where this podcast is going to go.
That's right. Well, that's an intriguing topic, but, you know, always love chatting about myself like most of us do, so I'm happy.
Well, you know, you've got one of the most resourceful, from what you share with me, headspaces in particular to productivity and general mindset. And I think that we can all learn from you, because as they say, if you want to change yourself, what's useful is to model yourself off other people, you know, borrow other people's beliefs and the way that they do things. And then as you start to model that behavior, then you start to change. So I thought, well, you're pretty cool. Maybe I'll just borrow some of the Julie approach.
I'm so happy that Shannon thinks I'm cool. I don't think people have called me cool for many decades.
Well, I mean,
coolish.
I'm not probably using I'm probably not using cool the way that the children these days use it. The kiddies, but that's probably because I'm old. So we thought we'd do this one as a short one, and we're picking Julie's brain.
Good luck.
Ooh, good luck. Now, Julie.
Shannon.
I believe that you have an amazing headspace for productivity. Whenever I say, Julie, can you do this? You're like, yes. And can we change that? Yes. You seem to have an infinite way of looking at time and your personal productivity. So I'd like to understand what you do, how you think, when there's do you even get overwhelmed? So I kind of want to understand that a little bit.
Beautiful. There's so many facets to it, Shannon. Developed over many years.
Yes. But I'm going to lie back and...
back with a cigar. Well, this is not going to be in any particular order. And this is going to be...
Oh, no. Gosh, sorry, guys. This is not how we planned it.
It's going to be random. Pretty random. So let me have a think. One of the things... Okay, I'm going to go logistics and then mindset, because they both certainly interplay with each other.
Beautiful.
From a logistics perspective, I run off an online calendar, Google Calendar. I don't have any to-do lists at all. I schedule every single thing that I need to think about, consider and do, and meetings to have, of course. I put them all in my Google Calendar. And every day when I look at my Google Calendar for the day, I then bring to the top of my list all the things that are going to be most impactful in reaching my goals. And so, you know, you're always going to have a whole bunch of things that seem to be very important and very urgent, but are they actually really important and urgent when you're talking about the things that you need to achieve for your career and for your work and for your clients? And so those sort of things all go to the top. And then I let the day just play out, and I keep repositioning these things and lengthening the time it takes me to do them. So upon reflection, I've got a very clear picture of how I spent that day. And I put a bunch of information within those events as well. So if you and I said at today's podcast recording, you know what we should do in the future? This particular topic. I'll go into the next date that we've got this event on, and I'll add it in the description there and save it for all my future events. So we never forget important information like that. And what I find managing my day on the online calendar, it allows me to get the important stuff done early and quickly, because it is so important. If I let the day roll out, then we all know what it's like, that all of a sudden I've got to take the dog to the vet or get my exercise in, or that person rang and we're always on the phone for an hour. So you can lose time through the day. So the morning is the best time for me to get those things done, because then they're done. And then anything can happen for the rest of the day, and I'm going to call that day a success. And the things I don't have time to get to that day, I don't look at it as, oh, it's a to-do list that I only got halfway through. No, I was never going to get all the stuff done in the day. I was going to get the important stuff done in the morning, and then everything else gets redistributed over the current day or the coming days or weeks. So that's one of the logistical things that I do.
And I have actually seen Julie do this, and it's a work of art. It really is. Yeah. And I think the thing that I found really interesting when you showed me that was how you do actually make it a live calendar. So if the podcast goes over, Julie will extend it by the minute.
I will
extend the appointment by the 3 minutes we went over. No, that's not true, but I find that really really interesting and such a good way of being able to reflect on how the time was spent, because it's so important to know that, so that, because I think, and I do want to talk about this because you're never busy ever. I don't even think that you know how to pronounce that word. and so I think that because you do that, you know every minute of the day what you're doing, so you can't possibly be busy because you've got such conscious awareness of where you're spending your time. Would that be true?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that terms like, I haven't got any time, I'm so busy, where could I fit that in, I wish there were more hours in the day, all of those things are just putting up resistance to the stuff that you want to achieve in a day or a week or what have you. And when I really started to pay attention to how am I putting up resistance, and how many moments in thought does my mind go to the resistance thoughts, it was crazy. It probably adds up to about a half an hour every single day, just thinking about the stuff you've got to get done rather than just getting in there and doing it.
Oh, you only spend half an hour resisting your thoughts. Interesting. I'd need to schedule at least 2 hours for that one.
Another element, a logistical element, is the Eisenhower matrix. So if you don't know what the Eisenhower matrix is out there, just look it up on the internet. Dwight Eisenhower, the former president of the United States, developed this. It's a tremendous productivity tool, and it just puts all of your tasks into 4 quadrants. Important and urgent, not important and urgent, important and not urgent, not important and not urgent. And so I've been doing that one for years. So my brain naturally goes to that. So whenever I look at a series of tasks that I've got to do in that day, when I'm trying to prioritize all the important and urgent stuff at the very top of the day, I'm constantly processing them through, because as a day rolls on, sometimes something else will take priority. So you've got to always be active in that discernment of what's the next thing I'm going to tackle right now. Because quite often we can just have our hook into getting stuff done, as many items as done, but you're actually just doing things that really aren't going to play any big role in you achieving any greater success other than just getting a to-do list ticked off. And so
oh, sorry, I was just going to say we kind of validate our choices by spending time in not important, not urgent activities. They're normally other people's monkeys being thrown on our back, or busy work that we do, which makes us feel like we've achieved something. But going back to your comment about your calendar and making sure that what you're spending your time on is impactful for your goals, well, if we spend our time doing not important and not urgent stuff, what's the point? We feel good because we think we're doing something, but we're not actually doing anything that's going to impact the greater good in the long term. So that's really useful.
And we need to always be, having an identification of what your goals are and what your purpose is and where your values lie, they all come into play when we're trying to determine where on the Eisenhower matrix does each of these tasks reside. Because one of the things that I found when I used to own my dental practice was work came first. And I grew up in a family where my father was very work orientated and he had that ethic that work comes first. And I think work has to come very high. But then you start to go, oh, my other relationships, they deserve time for me to nurture those relationships, their family members, their cousins, their friends, whatever it is. And so when you've got a series of values that says, I've now entered into a period of my life where my relationships hold a very high value, then those sort of beliefs, those sort of values help you prioritize the tasks that you're going to get done as well. And you and I have spoken before about Charles, my awesome husband. He values health above everything else. And so he could have some very important tasks to get done in the day, but he will always make sure that exercise is in there somewhere, because that's as long as he does exercise for the day, he is satisfied. Because that's leaning towards his values.
Okay. All right. So they're your practical elements. You've got your calendar, which is used like military precision, and your allocation of priorities based on the Eisenhower matrix. Are there other practical things around your productivity, or is it time to move on to your mindset around productivity?
This one might be practical or maybe mindset. So this might be a good segue into the mindset one.
Wonderful.
Mel Robbins, the American chick that wrote the book, I think it's called 5321 Launch, but it's a productivity hack.
That's the 5-second rule.
5-second rule. Thank you very much. So I read that book a few years ago and I started to apply it straight away and I loved it. And so again, it gets rid of the resistance that we can sometimes have when we need to jump into a task and get it done. We're so busy starting to think about how we're going to get it done. Should I do it next? Maybe I'll put that one off to tomorrow. It's a bit of a difficult conversation and I'm really feeling the mood for that right now. I'm going to put it off till later. All the thoughts, the constant thoughts, and you're right, it probably takes far longer than half an hour to think about all the things that we have to get done, the thoughts around them. But with Mel Robbins 5-4-3-2-1, if you count backwards, it's a bit of a pattern interrupt for your brain. And so when you go 5-4-3-2-1, just do it. Don't even think about it. Just do what you are inclined to do in this moment instantly. And that helps me get rid of that mind clutter around it and just get things done. And so that's another good one, but that may kind of tip into mindset a little bit, because you and I have spoken in the past about how I also like to work in flow as well. So even though working from home, I'm on the computer and I've got my to-do list, or no, I shouldn't say that. I should share with you I've got my schedule in front of me and all the things I prioritize at the top, and I'm doing all the things. And if I finish a task and I need to go to the bathroom, and I go to the bathroom and I go, oh, bathroom needs to have a quick clean, I won't then go, oh, I'll do that on Sunday, my cleaning day. I'll clean it straight away. And I'll do it 5-4-3-2-1. I won't think about it. I won't try to prioritize it. I'll just go, this instantly needs to be done right now. I'm just going to quickly do it. And there are various things in our workspaces, in our homes, if we're working from home, there are various little tasks that can be done and just take a few short minutes, sometimes just a few short seconds to get done. But when we're in work mode, we can be forgiven for thinking, no, I'm in work mode. I'll do that when I'm in off work mode. But what happens then is that once you kind of clock off for the day, or once you get home from work, you've got 20 little tasks to get done. And it just helps you feel a bit harassed and put upon, and I have to delay relaxing for the evening because I've got to get all these things done. And so I'm a big fan of working in flow as well. And this is where you get to the end of the day and everything you've identified as needs to be done has actually been done. And you feel, again, with that schedule that's upon reflection, accurate representation of your day, because I put things in there, clean bathroom, I put that in there. I put everything in there, and then you look at your day and you go, look at all the stuff I get done. And it's a constant reminder to yourself that you are productive, you get shit done, and you are on top of stuff.
I love that. There's one on that cleaning productivity thing. I have one teeny tiny tip to add. Teeny tiny tip. I wish my name was Shannon. I heard once the touch it once approach, and that sits in my brain because I've got my empty smoothie cup, and any parent who has children who are constantly nagging their children to put things in the dishwasher, if it's in your hand and the final place is the dishwasher, you don't put it on the bench because then you've got to touch it another time to put it in the dishwasher. And so I've got a little bit of a habit sometimes around touching things multiple times, and there's that mindset of like, well, yeah, but I moved it from there to there, so therefore,
it's progress.
It got 3 steps away. But that touch it once, because there's those moments where I'll kind of go, it's probably more of a kitchen thing that sits in my mind, or something in the bathroom. I might have taken some, let's say I had some tablets, and which actually I wouldn't, but I'm trying to come up with another room example. Here's an example. When I take my washing out of the dryer, I have to fold it straight away, because actually I'll put it in the washing basket, which will then sit there for 3 weeks. And then I'll spend hours searching through the clothes washing basket to find the clothes, instead of just spending the 15 minutes to fold it. So that's one of those examples.
Yeah.
So the touch it once approach.
I love it.
I like that.
I love it.
But this is not about Shannon's brain. This is about Julie's brain, because Julie's brain is far more productive than mine.
And I just had one additional thought about one of the logistical things I do. I always have a pad beside me, because we always come up with thoughts, ideas, people tell us things that we think is worthy of remembering. And so all of those things get written down, and sometimes you never have to look at it again, because just the process of writing it down locks it into the brain and leaves a stronger impression on the brain anyway. But then it usually kind of pans out to be once every couple of weeks, I then flick back over previous pages and diarise things that are still important that I want to make sure I tackle in the future as well.
Yeah, nice.
The other thing is then we're moving into mindset. And so there's a few core beliefs that I have, and there's a mental process that I have gone through in the past that's really helped me as well. A few core beliefs, these can really help us stop the negative chatter that we're not getting enough done, that we're not smart enough, that we're not good enough, that other people do it better, that we have to learn far more things to be effective, all those that sort of negative mind chatter that goes on in our heads. And one of the things that I do think about is at the end of every day, I have this belief, everything I was supposed to get done today, I got done. It's because I got that done. And the stuff I didn't get done, I didn't get done. So I obviously wasn't meant to get it done today. So you go, everything I got done today, I got done. Sweet. That's fantastic. Also, that if there were certain things that didn't go well during the day, or as planned, or that were frustrations or whatever, frustration, that's a huge one that can really distract you away from things. The computer's not running smoothly enough. I got that phone call that took longer than it needed to take, and I'm just frustrated. So now I'm focusing on the rest of my day in this frustrated mindset, and that can really impact your feelings of productivity too. But whenever anything happens where it's a bit of a hiccup to the day, just go, oh, well, that was meant to happen. Don't know why, but it was meant to happen. And so that's, again, part of being in flow, isn't it? That you're just completely accepting of the way your day is rolling out.
And you are always so gracious if the podcast doesn't go ahead, or if we need to move it. You're always so perfect. No, because you've got that headspace, that fantastic. Much as I know you're devastated because you wanted to catch up with me.
Which is come later, yeah.
That is a given.
Yeah.
You were also very open to that flow, that the universe has kind of given you guidance that wasn't meant to happen, and so that other thing was meant to happen, which again is why I admire you so much, because I'm like, no, but I planned.
It's in my diary.
and you've
diary.
stuffed me around. Like, now what do I do? As an example, on a day this week, I had an appointment, and then I scheduled an appointment that was 15 minutes away from that appointment, which is actually 45 minutes away from where I live. Now that appointment has gone, so now I'm going to drive 45 minutes for an appointment that I didn't. But I'm finding a way to get joy from that, which is why I'm picking Julie's brain.
And maybe a good way of imagining the things to imagine around these sort of interruptions to our day, and when things don't go in according to our world and our plans, as you know, according to plan, is let's picture the universe coming to us and saying, I'm not going to tell you why, I don't have the time right now, but I'm taking away that other appointment time, but it's all working sweet for you. Don't you worry about that. And you would just go, sure, universe, sure, I'm going with you. I'm going with it. You got my back. It's okay. And so maybe we should, rather than see it as something this other human being did to us to interrupt our day, it's the universe delivering to us a little gift that we don't know what's inside the gift, but it's a gift all the same, so we take it as that. How often, I don't know if this has happened to you, but it's happened to me a couple of times at least, I'm sure. I shouldn't say it has happened to me at least a couple of times, I'm sure more, that you've got the red light after the red light after the red light, and you're frustrated. I just need to get to my appointment time. I'm a couple of minutes late now. And then you drive past a bingle. Two cars that are smash into each other. And do you ever think to yourself, could have been me if I was a minute earlier?
No, because the universe has always got my back.
So funny, I love it. And so developing a series of beliefs around your productivity and how much you're supposed to get done in life and whether you're on purpose, like just make sure you are challenging the negative self-talk that can sometimes make you feel like you are lesser than what you're actually exhibiting to the outside world. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So my final thing that I thought I'd mention is my Empower Walk. This starts to tackle those negative self-talk. My thoughts that there's plenty of time for everything, that I am super productive and that I'm a super performer all come from me faking it till I make it, me telling myself that before I actually felt that in myself. I had a period of time a few years ago where I had 5 consulting clients. And for me, that was too much. To be able to really properly, thoughtfully consider 5, that was overwhelming. And I felt like I wasn't giving any of them individually enough energy. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to keep them all because, how often do you get 5 clients, So I'm like, I got to keep them. And so I just happened to be on one of my 1-hour walks that I take every day, and I was listening to Dr. Bruce Lipton, and he is an epigeneticist, brilliant man, and he also wrote the book, The Biology of Belief. And in this snippet, and I'll put it in the show notes, I've got a podcast episode that I do for my dental market, and it talks about, and it's got the recording of Bruce saying his bit, and also my Empower Walk. It talks a bit more about that in case people are interested in seeing that, or listening to that, I should say. But Dr. Bruce Lipton was talking about how our beliefs certainly drive all of our behaviour. We all know that. Most of us know that. And these internal beliefs have been developed usually when we're little children. And to shift internal beliefs, therefore to shift negative self-talk, you can do it in one of 3 ways. The first way is get to the child before they hit the age of 7. That's where most of our very core beliefs, that's when they're implanted into our brain, that we develop them as little children. If you can't go back to the age of 7, which that would be a long journey, the next best way is through hypnotherapy. And so you go to a hypnotherapist, have a series of sessions where she takes you back into that under 7-year-old mind space of Veda, the way the brain operates in Veda. And you get there through hypnotherapy, and that's where you can start very effectively tackling unhelpful beliefs. But the third way is through repetition. And Bruce I just know him as Bruce, he's a good friend. No, not really. I call him Brucey, no. So Brucey says that it's like an affirmation, but if you like an affirmation that you put on your fridge or on your corkboard or whiteboard or vision board or whatever, that's more like a suggestion. It's a different thing when you've got this affirmation that you're repeating to yourself over and 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 over, just hammering yourself with it. And I thought, well, that's a really interesting thing. So on my walk, I decided to just put it onto normal music, like nothing, it was just instrumental music. And I started to repeat to myself, there's plenty of time, there's plenty of time, there's plenty of time, there's plenty of time, there's plenty of time. And you can kind of come up with the phrase that you feel resonates with you. And sometimes I've found my phrase may change from one day to another in the specific words that I use, but there's plenty of time, there's plenty of time, there's plenty of time, there's plenty of time. And I started repeating it just like that under my breath on my walk. When I was probably 10 or 15 minutes into my walk of repeating it again and again and again and again and again and again, because when you first start repeating these things, you still got that negative self-talk in the back of your brain going, no, there's not enough time. No, you do run out of time. Time is finite.
What time is it? Are we going to finish the walk? We're going to finish the walk soon? I don't know.
You got things to do. Get home. Because you've got no time. And so about 10 to 15 minutes into the walk, I realised I became conscious of the fact that my brain was now thinking of things like, I've got to email that client about that topic. I've got to get that book that I promised, and I've got to do some shopping and think about what to have for dinner tonight and then do that marketing thing and send that email out. And I was thinking about all the things that need to get done. And there's plenty of time, there's plenty of time, there's plenty of time, there's plenty of time. That had shifted into the back of my mind. It was still repeating, but what wasn't repeating, because I think there just simply wasn't any room for it, was the negative one, the negative voice that was saying, no, there's not enough time. Oh, she's instantly smarter. She's popped her glasses on, people. Instantly more intelligent.
I just got tired. I got tired from using my eyes.
Ice cream.
Plus, also, I did feel a little bit dumb without my glasses on, so I'm pretty sure I can contribute to this conversation now.
And so I did this for a couple of days. I think I did that first one for about a week. And what I found was I had plenty of time for everything. Nothing had actually changed. The structure that I put to my days didn't change. I didn't reduce down the number of clients or the things I had to do. I just started getting plenty of time. And so I thought, oh, this is interesting. So now I'm super productive. So I did that for the next couple of days and I became super productive. At the time, I was still a member of Toastmasters, where you and I both met. And at Toastmasters, we present speeches and then get evaluated on them. And you always get those butterflies in your belly before you stand up there in front of everyone and present your speech. So I started saying, I'm super confident, I'm super confident, I'm super confident, I'm super performer, I'm super performer, I'm super performer. Again, just for a couple of days, every day for that 1 hour walk. Next time I got up in front of Toastmasters to do my speech, I felt completely calm. I have found this Empower Walk, you know how they talk about a power walk? I call this my Empower Walk. I've now flipped it where I can do it in the car. I can do it when I'm sitting looking at the garden at the back. I can do it anywhere I like. And I feel like all I have to do now is to repeat an affirmation of some kind a few times. It jiggers me right back into that good, healthy space where my background noise is the positive affirmation rather than the negative self-chatter. And I've got to say, the negative self-chatter is really, really minimal. And it takes usually an event to trigger it, like an unhelpful event to trigger it.
So useful. I'm looking at the time. I wonder if I can do like a quick fire round with you.
Yeah, go.
We're going to do word association. I'm making this up.
Now you'll all realise how much I think about sex. I'm only joking.
I'm going to show Julie blot patterns. So, as you know, people, just a little segue, we are on YouTube, and there are two reasons why you should watch this on YouTube if you've gotten to this. Go back. you might not have picked up the reference to what happened in that little thing is I put a pair of glasses on, and that was what Julie and I were talking about in that little thing. And then when I said word association, Julie nearly did just choke on her glass of water. And I think that it's a worthwhile going back to watch. So just a little bit of fun for your visual medium there. Right, so we're going to do word association. Okay. We're going to start with productivity. I had way more things to pick your brain about, but I think we'll stick with productivity today.
Sounds groovy.
Okay, word association. Overwhelm.
Unnecessary.
Ooh. You can use more than one word.
Okay, it is unnecessary.
No, that's great. Busy.
Productive.
Oh, see, I went bullshit. Disorganized.
Working in flow. Because sometimes people do work in a disorganized fashion, but that's the way they work.
Meetings.
Connection.
Late nights.
Fun.
That's Julie's reference to sex. Calendar.
Organisation.
To-do list.
Organisation.
Social media.
A pain in the ass.
Best productivity book.
I have to say,
that's
I'm
not really
pain in the ass with this, but I have to say flow. Hang on, it's right. Look, this is how easy it is for me to find it. Not as easy to say the author's name.
Yeah, you've mentioned that before.
Csikszentmihalyi. Yeah, so people on YouTube can see this book, and it's written by a Hungarian, and I'm married to a Hungarian. But if you're working in flow, you are not overwhelmed. You are getting all the necessary things that you need to get done from a universal perspective, not from a human experience perspective. And when you are living to, if you've identified your purpose in this life with these people on this land, then working and being productive to a more of a flow universal perspective makes far better sense. Because whenever we are not smart enough to be able to take all the very many things into consideration when we're formulating our plan to get from point A to point B. Everyone else's plans crisscross over our plan. They muck it all up. And we feel like that something's going wrong with that. But when we're working in flow, we realize everything's working properly in its right order, in its right time.
Okay, cool. 2 more words, I think.
Yeah.
Productivity.
Oh, you said productivity before, and I think I said organisation, or did we go the other way around? Did you say organised and I said productive?
Yes, correct.
Productivity.
Yeah,
the first thing I do actually think about when you say productivity, I think like it's the meaty stuff. That's the results. That's the outcomes. That's good stuff.
Okay. Actually, I've got 2 more words now. Still
2 more.
Yeah. Productive.
Productive. See, I still say working in flow.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong here. I don't know if I pre-framed that. We might go off topic with this word association, but, success.
Happiness. And I became so aware of that when you and I, for one of our previous episodes, spoke about nihilism. That you are functioning in this world with zero beliefs in anything, in any organised religion, that there's any kind of universal law at play, and through our discussion, this is how unique yours and my conversations are, because I had ultimately this conversation with somebody else, and it was such a different kind of conversation. It wasn't even funny. It was a very hopeless result in that discussion that, what our life would be like and chaotic and a lot of criminal behaviour and stuff like that. But for some reason, our discussion around that led us both to that thought of the purpose that we are all here is for happiness. And there's a whole journey of thought behind that. So if people are interested, please go back and listen to that episode. But that is my purpose, is
Success.
that's my version of success, is happiness. It sounds self-centered, but listen to the episode. It's not so much self-centered.
No, but I mean, look, ultimately our existence is a selfish existence. I have a true belief that this is not the picking of Shannon's brain, but, we only do altruistic things because it makes us feel good. So actually it's self-serving it's self-serving.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and that's good because it prompts us to do those things for other people. So whatever the motivation is, if it makes you do good things, do good things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Julie, I've enjoyed picking your brain. I think we're going to do a series of picking Julie's brain.
Yeah,
we've done a series of
very wise, Shannon.
Well, I think you are very wise, and I think there's a lot to learn from the way that you see the world. So that's why I think we should do it. Should I do a wrap or do we just end on happiness?
That's nice. Let's just end on happiness. That's nice. I hope you're happy, Shannon. I wish for you happiness.
Thank you. Thank you, Julie. I am exactly where I need to be.
Beautiful. We all are. Happiness is there for all of us. We just need to realise it. For it to come into our awareness. I feel like we should say amen, sister.
It does feel like a bit of I do feel like this has been at the pulpit of the Julie Church, the Church of Julie of Latter-day Wednesdays.
So there's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Latter-day. Well, thanks, Shannon. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for focusing on me. I felt very important and validated.
Well, you are very important and you're worthy of validation.
Oh, crazy. People out there are going to be going, oh, give me a bucket.
Can you guys get a room? Word association there. No.
That's what I was going to say to yourself. Do you really, Shannon? Do you really?
As always, Julie, lots of learning, barrel of laughs, love working with you, and I'll see you and our wonderful listeners sometime again in the future.
Sounds groovy, baby. Thank you for everything you do in my world. Love it. Ciao, ciao.
Oh, thank you. Ciao.